Just please consider how many would pay for footage to see you take a bath with a toaster, Darren. And then I barge in. I'm like, yeah, I've got a question for Darren. Oi, what's your thoughts on political accountability, given that you are both young, gay, former GB News presenters who have both been investigated for sex offences? Like I spoke about Darren Grimes the other week, didn't I? About how he's been let go from the GB News stables. He's been freed. He's been liberated. He says that it's a mutual decision. But he also said on a couple of occasions, like on his Substack live streams, that there was more to it than he can let on. But he can't reveal any of it for now. As much of an advocate of free speech, of being able to say whatever you like to anyone at any time, he won't unbutton his lip about that one thing. Which makes me wonder, why can't he say anything about the conditions to which he's tied with regards to his being let go from GB News? What would that restriction be? Why can't he reveal exactly what went down? It makes me wonder if maybe there's some sort of settlement with an NDA in tow, Now, who knows? Not me. I am just purely wildly speculating is all I'm doing. Better be careful with that or I'll end up on GB News. But I spent so much time mocking him the other week that I actually missed the upside to the whole thing, which is that when people like him make that pivot, right, to the independent journalist arena, now I can say whatever I like. Now I'm free. I won't be restricted by anyone. Now it's free speech. When they make that move, when they start that new career move that they all run to, when they move from GB News to YouTube or Substack, the upside here, they do become easier to engage with. From my perspective, they become way, way easier for me to make contact with directly, which is fun, I think. I've been having lots of fun with that in their respective live chats. So I have. Like the other night, he came online and he was doing his usual shtick about how, we just do not have the time, is what he said. God, that sounded Scottish, didn't it? Didn't sound anything like his Geordie tones. We just do not have the time, he said. And free speech, and he was babbling about how when he walks down the high streets in Newcastle, he can't understand anyone anymore. And he hears all of these different foreign accents. He doesn't know where he is anymore. And I was there, like, in his live chat. I was like, this is going to be fun. He was like, I go down the high street and I just hear all these accents. Everyone sounds foreign. I don't even know where I am. And he went, right, okay. I started typing. I was like, so you go somewhere and the accents aren't quite what you might have historically expected. Is that what you're saying? His loyal fans are like, yeah, whenever I go down my high street, my local high street, it's never the indigenous English people. I hear all of these accents. Oh, it doesn't even feel like England anymore, they all say. And I'm like, oi, Darren. I'm still typing. I'm like, oi, Darren, do you feel similarly? Just curious about this. Do you feel similarly when you tune into a national broadcaster in London, but you hear a regional accent on it? Like, how does that make you feel when you tune into a national British broadcaster broadcasting out of London, but the first accent you hear on it is a regional accent? How intimidating do you find that? How uncomfortable does that make you? And then he's babbling on about how he's taken this big risk by leaving GB News. We still don't know under what terms and conditions that exit was constructed or negotiated. He says he's taken a big risk by leaving GB News, and he says it could be the biggest mistake in the world. Like he's put it all on the line, guys. Like Elon, he's put it all on the line. Like maybe if it all falls to shit, he could just blame his lack of subscribers on people boycotting him. Like it's illegal to boycott me, I say. Like it's not enough. It's not enough that I should be allowed to say whatever I like to whoever, no matter who it upsets, all of the time. It's not enough to have free speech. I demand that you listen to me and you pay for the privilege 24/7. So he says he's really grateful to those of you who have signed up for his Substack. I've signed up for it. Have you guys? I was dead excited. I was straight on there. Please sign up for his Substack. It is the best comedy content I've ever seen. I mean, I can't wait for the next episode. Can't wait for his live streams. He says he's really grateful to everybody who signed up for it. So then I go back into the live chat because he's like, you know, he misses his GB News salary. Like, he was being paid pretty well for appearing on GB News. He's like thankful for the people who have signed up for the paid tiers on his Substack. So I'm like, oi, Darren, if you're short cash, if you're looking for cash to backfill the salary, I'll upgrade to paid right now. If you hit yourself over the head with a crowbar, son, like I'll throw in a tip. Of course I will. Like, I know it might seem like you're onto an earner right now, Darren. It might seem like you're onto a winner because you got your, I don't know, like 200 Patreons or your 200 paid Substack subscribers like in a day or in like 2 days or whatever. But honestly, a little bit of advice from one content creator to another, Darren. Just please consider how many would pay for footage to see you take a bath with a toaster, Darren. That would be like the market is there. It's there for the taking. It's like Cameo. It's Cameo for people with an IQ above 90. That's what it is. People will flock to that shit. You know, you think Kate Nash wants to sell butt pics? You think Lily Allen wants to sell foot pics? No, of course they don't. But they're finding a market, Darren. They're giving the people what they want. They're going where the money is. I got to be careful, man. You know, if I start lobbying or like, you know, telling people to take a bath with a toaster in exchange for money, like I'm going to end up on fucking 4chan or something like that. Another one was Dan Wootton. Dan Wootton is a guy, an ex-GB News guy, who's also made the move to independent free speech journalist. Previously oppressed, previously persecuted and restricted. Dan Wootton, outspoken. You can catch it every night on live stream. I think he's broadcasting from his spare room now. Possibly not the first time he's had cameras set up in there. I'm just going to say that. If you've read the Byline investigation into him, little reference to that. Anyway, he was chatting to that reform matey, Rupert Lowe. He's a guy that's gone up against Farage, and they're on about, like in his interview on his live stream, they're on about Nige, and they're on about the direction of reform and whether or not there's any substance to the allegations floated about this guy, about Rupert Lowe. And so then I decide to barge in once again to the live chat. I'm like, I don't believe these allegations, Rupert. I don't believe these allegations at all. I think it's do you know what it is? It's dark forces. Tell him, Martin. Martin, tell him that it's dark forces. People are like, Martin, who are you talking to? It's Dan Wootton's show. It's Dan Wootton. I'm like, Dan Wootton. I thought this was Martin Branning's show. Is it? Oh no, I remembered it. Yes, it's Dan Wootton, isn't it? I'm still typing away. Listen. Dan, just tell him to blame it on the dark forces, son. But then the next night, I couldn't believe my fucking luck, right? Because the following night, Darren Grimes was on Dan Wootton's live stream. Like, he was his guest. Like, there were all of these people, all of them are sacked and let go GB News guys, and now they're all just guesting on each other's YouTube channels. So that's what they do. The whole thing's just this ugly fucking political human centipede of culture war bollocks. Anyway, Dan Wootton is on there and he's interviewing Darren Grimes, and there's people asking questions in the live chat. Of course there are, you know, regular Q&A, people getting involved in the broadcast. And then I barge in. I'm like, yeah, I've got a question for Dan. I've got a question for Darren. Oi, what's your thoughts? What's your respective thoughts on political accountability, on accountability in politics, given that you are both young, gay, former GB News presenters who have both been investigated for sex offences?
Just another